Welcome to my video tutorial. Today I'm showing you the basics of using Sonocent Audio Notetaker. But today I'm just going to look at importing slides first and maybe also recording video clips. So first we need to do is import some PowerPoint slides. Now you can import your slides as PowerPoint or as PDFs or just images. Now if I go to the top here and select this button here, left click it and I've got my import options. So I'm going to import slides, but you can also, if I left click images, you can import images as well, and there's your formats for all your images down the bottom there. But actually I'm going to import a PDF or PowerPoint, so if I go right down to import slides, I can select the one I want. So I'm going to select into documents, and I should have in there Audio Notetaker recordings and a demo. Now I've got these PowerPoint slides both in PDF format and PowerPoint, so I'm just going to use the PDF format to show you as well first. Now as you can see on the left here, it's imported them down all in order. As I scroll down, you will see each slide separated into sections. Scroll back up to the top. So say you've got a lecture tomorrow and you've downloaded the slides, be it from your Blackboard or Moodle. First thing I find useful to do is actually take the text off the slides and put them into a new section here, so you can then highlight important parts that you might have to hear out for, or you can add information from link, or you can add different information. You can get hyperlinks from the internet and resources and stuff. Now what I like to do is, you see at the top here, I'm on text, and I don't know if you can see that on the screen, but it should be highlighted blue. So if I click into the audio section, then that highlights blue, so you know which section you're in, apart from the cursor being in that section. So I'm in text section, but if I go back up to here, now you look at the toolbar at the top, I've got show reference pane. I'm going to click that. So now I have the image pane, a reference pane, a text pane where I'm going to put my notes in, and I also have an audio pane. I'm going to click back in the reference pane. Now if I scroll down to the bottom here and click this little arrow, it might already come up and show when you click into the reference pane. I have these options here from check spelling, copy text from slides, or copy text from this slide. So it will just copy the text from one individual slide. Convert all text. So what I'm going to do first is click copy text from slides. I'll come back to Audio Notetaker. Now we have the slides on the left that you've downloaded from your Moodle or Blackboard. You also have your reference pane with all the text in there. Now I said before about highlighting stuff, and you can put additional information there ready prepared for your lectures. But if you also click on the beginning with the cursor, and if I come down here to the right, you've got an option there called start speaking. So it will start speaking back that text, and if you click just under it, speech settings, you can then change the voice you want to use for that as well. Also the speed you require. I'm going to click back off that, and now I've got my text from my slides. I'm going to scroll over straight to the right, and I'm going to scroll back up using this button arrow there. Now I'm going to start using a bit of colour coding. For example, I might look at that slide and say I need to hear out about copyright law more. So if I highlight copyright law today, and I can make that red. You can add bold if you want to make it stand out even more using the formatting on the right. So you can highlight stuff. You might even want to make stuff a certain colour. You might have blue you want to use. Now this colour coding on the right, don't worry too much about them for now. I'll show you them in a minute, but you can actually change the meanings of those colour codings because you might have your own setup. So I might go to second slide, and again I might look at that and say, oh, drum beat, I need to hear out for that's really important. I'm going to make that very important, and bold if you require as well. Click back on that. So we have our slides on the left, we have our reference pane with all our text, plus you can add your own if need be. And so on. Depends how you want to work that. Next, we've got two options here. We can use a dictaphone recorder to record the lectures, and if you have an index button on that dictaphone, you can press it each time they change a slide, so then it will put the audio in a corresponding slide. It's a great way to organise all your lectures for revision. But let's just imagine you're taking your laptop with your notebook. you're sitting there, the lecture's about to start. So I want you to put the cursor in the audio section here on the right. Now what I'm going to do as well, see on the right the colour coding here, we're on interview, aren't we? Click the drop down menu, I'm going to select lecture. So then I can highlight as I'm doing it for red important, blue follow up and so on. Again, if I click the edit colour option down here, you can change what they actually mean. So I'm currently on lecture, so if I click the edit button, it brings up all the colour coding. So now I can choose, for example, I might want to add something for yellow. So if I click on once, then tap again, it then enables me to put my own information in. So you can put whatever you want in there. Again, it's endless, it's just a great way to organise all your work using colour coding and stuff. Also, see here on the sections, you can also, if you require, add section colours. I'll explain that in a minute as well, because you might have green for core topics and so on. So I'm just going to click save because I've added that find references, and then click OK and close, and there you go, find references is just there now. So now I've got loads of colour coding. So make sure you selected lecture, and let's make a start. So I'm going to click into the audio section. Now if you've got an external mic, great, but if it's not such a big room or lecture room or auditorium, you can use the internal mic depending on when you're situated and the kind of noise you get. So now I've clicked into audio, and I know I have because that's highlighted blue. If I scroll right up to the left hand corner, I can click the red button or use Ctrl R to start recording. Now as I'm talking, you can see the bottom left hand corner is picking up my speech. Also, if I scroll to the top here, so you can see the actual blocks, it creates these blocks for a reason, because then you can colour code and use annotation to highlight what's required. Now you can do your notes as you're going along if you require, but it's probably better to do your notes when you get back, because you can listen to each section and then add your notes, play back more, add your notes. But let's just imagine that you want to add your notes as you actually listen to it now. So as you see the cursors in the audio section, it's recording my voice, and it's also highlighted blue. Now if I start typing, I don't have to click any buttons, and then you can start adding stuff using that option. Now you can keep doing your notes, and when you finish in each section they change their slide, click the enter button twice. So I'm clicking it once and again, and if we go down there you can see in the second section it started to record on that slide. So that way you can keep it corresponding to each slide and the audio to the lecture, and add your notes. So if I started adding my notes again and so on, you can just keep going and going and going. Great for when you get back for revision, but you can also add your notes when you get back as well. Now you see the colour coding on the right here, so there might be something really interesting. For example, if I click the little arrow here, we have options here. We can use default text colours, or if I scroll back up with the little arrow, for example, I might want to click the red button. So now I'm in the text option. If I click back into audio section, we now got the colour coding options here. Look, so for example, if you see it says important and it's got number 1, follow up number 2. So if I'm listening back, I can actually press the corresponding number on the keyboard. For example, if I press 1 on the keyboard, it will create red. If I press 2, let me show you what I mean. So maybe you're doing another note, so let's do another note. I'll do more notes at the top there, and as it's listening to me carry on recording, I'm going to use the colour coding options. So I'm going to press the red button first. So red button is 1, and there you go, stop talking, and the colour goes. You might hear something you don't quite understand as they're talking, and then I would click number 3 is for don't understand, and number 3, that would turn grey. When you stop talking, you can see there's gaps in the blocks, and this is where annotation comes into play, because you can specifically choose what you want to colour code. So you might think, oh, I didn't quite pick that up, so what's green? Didn't hear, that will be number 4. So if I click 4 shortcut on the actual keyboard, it's done for you, and when I stop talking it will go back to the original blue default colour. But if you don't want it to do that, scroll down to this option here, click continuous colouring, so when you click something, just continuously to colour that. It's up to you how you want to work that. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to scroll back up to top left hand corner, and I'm going to click the stop button, and let's have a look what we've got. So We've got the text we did from the day before, the night before. You don't have to do that. You might not get the slides the day after or actually on the day of the lecture or meeting. Doesn't matter, you can add them where you want. You could even add the audio files first, then as long as you make sure you create those sections, you can import the slides after so they actually correspond. So now what I can do is I can click on the beginning and click the playback button to have a listen. Now as I'm listening, I can then start adding my colour coding again as well. I might go, oh, that's quite interesting, I missed that first time round. Red important. Again, you might have two. I need to follow up on that. Click the pause button. But it's a better way than having to go up here clicking pause, play, pause, play. If I click play, as it's playing back, if you hit the spacebar on the keyboard, it pauses it. So that way you can do another note. So I could type more notes. Then I've got my note down, click spacebar again, and it will carry on and carry on. Depends how you want to work that and get your notes down, but that's a good way of doing it. Also, at the top here, if I click that button, that actually edits the lectures about. For example, if I left click that. Currently it did it automatically with the title, reason being because I imported it and it took the title from those PowerPoints. But sometimes it won't do that, so you're going to have to type that in yourself. The topic, if need be, the teacher or lecturer's name and the date that lecture, which is really important for when you go back to it. Because if I go to the top here, we've got all notes, all audio files, so everything's stored here for you for later on to access. So it's important you index stuff properly. So far so good. Now I mentioned earlier about this section colour here, how you want to use this. That entirely depends on you. For example, if I click into the first section here at the end in audio, I've got an option up here called insert section break or F12 shortcut key. Click that and now I've got a section underneath. So now you can add additional notes, or you can take your audio down there and separate stuff. There's a few ways you can separate your colour codes from the actual audio. I'll show you that in a second. But you might, for example, go, oh, I want that, so I'm going to highlight that as follow up. Hold the left button and just drag it down where you want it. It's like cut and paste, but you don't have to right click and cut and paste it. And you can drag your audio into sections, and then you might want to add your notes there as well, or any references if you've got them. Now you see that's white there, and that's what I could do as well, because that's researched further. I could click that button and make them both the corresponding colours, and then we go down to your next slide depending on what you want to do with that. You might want to do it in a different method. For example, you might have highlighted all the red parts, which is important parts, and you only want to take them out of your actual lecture notes and audios. So what we do is come up here and click this button here, and depending if you want to extract the audio or sections, let's extract the audio. That's the actual blocks that you've colour coded. Then choose what you want to actually extract. It will only actually highlight what's there in colour coding. So what I'm going to do is, we only want the red. So what it would do is when I click OK, it will take all the blocks that have been colour coded red, which is important, to a new project. Show you. Now before I extract it to a new document, you can create one first. For example, let me show you. So if I come up to plus, and if I come to the top and the edit button, and then you put the name of the lecture and just put key points, for example. Then again put your topic in, speaker, and the dates there for us. So that's called key points. So if I go back to the original project, and remember I'm going to extract, so colours, extract audio, untick all those options, only extract what you want, which is the important parts. I need to choose where I'm extracting it to, so I've created a new project, key points, then click OK. And I'll go to the tab here, that's the original one. It hasn't actually taken the red important parts out of that audio lecture, it's still left in there, but it's create a new project there with all the important parts. And then you can start working on individual parts of your audio from the lecture. You can even import them back when you've finished, but I'll show you that in a later tutorial. So let me go back to the original one. Also, as you see, it works in blocks. So if I click at the beginning and click playback, it will play back. But the problem is, you might want to split these blocks, because these blocks are created when there's no gaps in the speech. And sometimes, be it the lecturer or speaker might continuously speaking, and you end up with just big long blocks that you want to break up. Well, that's easy enough. Right click the point. Let's do right click. Go right down and left click. Split chunk. Always look to the right. You have the shortcut keys there if required. And then if I now come off there, you can see there's a chunk, which might be good because you might want to move that section. So hold the left button down and then you can drop that where you want. So it's a good way to chop them up. I want to drag that back up a sec. In fact, you might even want to join chunks together. So if you click in the middle of the chunk, now I'm just going to use the cursor key to jump in between there. Now, right click in there, and then choose the merge button, and left click merge chunks. If I click off that, you can see it's now merged. So this is the whole point of actually using blocks to do annotation, because then you can highlight, move it around, because you're more control over your audio files. Also, if you have got a dictaphone, you can use that option as well. Now what we can do with this project as well, if required, you can use the export button here. Export it as an album, audio as an album, to iTunes, audio and images as a video, or text and images to a Word document. Entirely up to you, great for revision to print off. Also, if you find that your lecture's quite noisy and you've got a lot of hissing or noises from the background, choose this option here, noise cancel, and that should dampen a lot of that out. Also, you've got your volume and the speed to speed up the lecture or speech or slow it down. Now there's some basics to get you up and running. There's another great option I want to show you, and that's using the video option, because some students will have videos they watch from a Moodle, Blackboard or university or college websites, or even YouTube, just do a bit of revision and some study and research. So why don't we use Audio Notetaker for that as well? So what we'll do is create a new project. Now bear in mind with this, it's set up by default to save every 5 minutes automatically, but it's always a good idea to go to top left hand corner and always choose Save As Select, because then you know where you're saving it to specifically. So make sure you save your projects. But I'm going to press the plus button here to create a new project. Let's just say a video you have to look at and you need to take notes from it. So first thing, let's set up Audio Notetaker. Now if I go to the left here, I've got the record button. Now if I click just to the right of the record button, there's a drop down arrow, set to mic only. Hence, that will use the external mic only to record. I could select mic and audio output, so that will record what's coming from the laptop and the mic at the same time. Might be good if you are watching a video online, you want to add your own audio notes as you're going along. And audio output only will actually only record the audio coming from your laptop. So I'm going to select that. Now I'm going to come off that a second, so that's ready to go. Next thing I need to do is drag this window at the top here to the right, because I need to open up the actual website that I'm going to look at to record the audio from, and I need Audio Notetaker open at the same time. So if I hold the left button right at the top bar here and drag it, it will lock in. Do the same with a video online, hold the left button, drag it all the way to the left, it locks in. Now we're ready to go. Before we start though, I need to find some way of actually taking snapshots of the video. On Audio Notetaker, so these 3 little buttons here, they've been minimised because I've squashed the screen up. But do a left click and then drop down menu, select capture screen. Now this window's popped up. So if I hold the left button in the corner, I need to drag it over the video I want to take snapshots of. Let's see if I can get that pretty perfect. Hold the left button to drag it in and out just to cover the screen. The more the better actually, because it makes it more tidy as well. That's not bad. Now I'm almost ready to go. So, click in the audio section. I'm going to press record on Audio Notetaker. It won't be picking up my voice. You can see as I'm speaking no blocks are coming up because I've set audio output only. Click play on the video. It's now recording.
It's an academic and applied discipline that involves the scientific study of mental functions and behaviors. Or to put it more simply, today we're going to talk about your mind.
So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start taking snapshots. So if you click this button here or click the enter key, it takes the image on the left and creates the recording from that image. Click it again when you want to take another snapshot, and so on. And I'm just going to stop that a second and click pause and then stop an audio note taker. Now I'm going to maximise audio note taker and then close the capture screen window. Now let me explain what's happened. So I started recording. Now can you see where it's continuous speech, as I was explaining earlier? When I click the capture button or click the enter key to create a snapshot, it didn't go down with it because it was continuous speech. So that only works. So when there's a gap in the audio file, then you click the enter key to capture, then it will go down to the next section. So you've got to time it quite right. And we can always move it afterwards, remember, by right clicking, left click, split, hold the left button and drag it down anyway. But as you can see how it works, the idea of how it works, and then you end up with the audio for the specific actual clip that you've taken a screenshot of, and then you can go into your text section and start adding your notes there. Great for revision, just to help you organise everything. And again, use the colour coding options. I'll do a few more videos on this at a later date, but there's some basics just to get you up and running. Thanks for watching.